Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far and that you're all cozied up for today's video. So today I want to talk to you about my writing craft book collection. On top of being a reader first, I'm also a writer, so I have a bunch of books about writing. And there are about 10 books that I want to talk to you about today. Full disclaimer, this is only about half of my collection. The rest is in French, and so for an English-speaking audience I think it's probably not the most interesting. But also I think the styles of books about writing in French is a bit different. It's a bit less focused on the craft, it's a bit less practical, at least the ones that I have. It's a lot of musings from writers about their own craft and kind of a bit more like philosophical in a way. And I also have some kind of sociological books and text about being a writer in France, what it means, kind of the business or the economy of being a writer as well. Most people have like another job on top of that because you don't make a lot of money writing books in France for the majority of writers, unfortunately. So that's kind of another part of my collection. And one of my goals for 2024 is to read 12 books about writing, so about once a month, hopefully. So I hope that I can get through a good chunk of my current collection because there are so many that I haven't read yet. So to start with, we have On Writing Well by William Zinsser. And this is about writing non-fiction specifically. I'm sure there are advice in there that is also applicable to writing fiction, but I do write in different genres, so I think this is still going to be very beneficial for me. And this was gifted by my lovely husband a few years back, and I still haven't read it. I don't have a good excuse for it, so yeah, I'm hoping to get to it this year. Another one that was gifted by my husband at the same time as the first one actually is The Art of Fiction by John Gardner. So this one focuses on craft for young writers, and I did start it like there I have a few tabs in there and for some reason I fell off it, but I've heard a lot of good things about this, so again, one I would be excited to dive in. The next one is a bit more academic, I think. This is Writing for an Undungeoned World, Literature, Culture and Environment in the US and Beyond by Lawrence Buell. And so this is about kind of environmental writing, kind of eco-criticism as it says on the back. And so I'm very concerned, like most people, about climate change and the dangers that are kind of weighing on us as kind of the planet deteriorates, and so that's a theme I'm likely to explore in my writing, and so kind of having a bit of a critical view of what has been done so far and kind of understanding like a specific movement linked to that in literature is very interesting to me, so I'm hoping to get that from this book. Next we have a very well-known and very loved books. This is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Basically this is a 12-week program to help people reconnect to their creativity. So this is not about writing specifically, this is for all creatives, so painters, filmmakers, dancers, sculptors, like what have you. And so I did read this book. I did do the program during November, December and January, so during my burnout, and that kind of helped me again like reconnect with creativity, but I was being burnout, it was hard to get to all the exercises and do all the practice. Like the two main exercises that are recommended in the books are the morning pages and the artist date. The morning pages I did for the whole period, and it was a bit painful. Like I know that people love them and people continue doing them afterwards. For me, it was like in the beginning I really enjoyed them, and then it's starting to be more of a chore. But yeah, I'm still journaling more than I was doing before, so there's still like some lingering benefits to that. The artist dates I fell off pretty quickly, but yeah, overall this was like a very good book, lots of practical tips and practices that you can implement in your creative journey, so I would I would recommend. Then we have Walking in This World, still by Julia Cameron. So my understanding is that pretty much that's the kind of follow-up to the Artist's Way. So we hear a lot about the Artist's Way, but I've never heard about this book, so I'm not exactly sure what to expect. But I imagine it would be in the same vein and kind of going a bit further than the previous one. So I'm curious to dive in as well and see what's in there, because I really enjoyed the Artist's Way. So I'm hoping to have new nuggets of wisdoms and new interesting exercises to try. Next, this is Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. I'm currently rereading this. I read this a few years ago. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This kind of sparked a very strong need and desire to write when I read it the first time. At the time I had like a manuscript that I had written very quickly and so hadn't touched for a few years, and this book kind of sparked me getting back to it and rewriting it and then sending it to publishers and things like that. So it was very powerful. I really loved it, and so I'm rereading it now and again really enjoying it very much. So this is one of my favorite books. Alright, it seems that I can't make a video without talking about Philip Pullman, or at least that's been the case so far. So this is Demon Voices, and this is a collection of essays and speeches that Philip Pullman has given about the art of writing. I did start this last year. My bookmark is still there, so I've made it this far in the book, but it's been a while and I don't remember much. I was not really taking notes at the time, so if I reread this year, I want to start again from the beginning. The next one is a little bit different. This is 16 Writers on the Decision Not to Have Kids, and this has been kind of collected and put together by Megan Dome. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So basically this is a collection of 16 essays on why some writers decided not to have kids, and kind of the relationship between that decision and their own creativity and their own writing. I consider myself child-free, and so I'm very curious to dive in this. I'm curious basically on both topics, like on the writing and on the not having kids. I'm not sure how much about writing there will be in there, or if it's just like the fact that it's the perspective of writers. But yeah, I'm very, very curious about this one. And finally, I have two books about writing fantasy and science fiction. So this is Writing Fantasy and Science Fiction: How to Create Out-of-This-World Novels and Short Stories. This is written by several authors. So this is from Orson Scott Card, Philip Athans, and Jay Lake. And I think it's gonna be quite practical. It's quite thick, it's quite small print, seems very comprehensive, so I'm excited to see what's in there. And then the next one is just a gorgeous book. This is The Wonder Book, The Illustrated Guide to Creating Imaginative Fiction by Jeff Vandermeer. And it's full of illustrations, pictures. It seems, in a way, very interactive is the word that comes to mind. And so I'm really excited to read this, and just like flipping through it gets me excited. So yeah, that's the last one I wanted to talk about today. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!